Erika Kirk just got destroyed by facts, and her $389 million dark money lies are coming straight up to the surface. Turning Point USA is using their funds and our government to target Black families. And Erika Kirk's youth club, it's actually just a billionaire coup. Shocker.
My mission for all of you after you leave here, please go confuse the culture.
Imagine a group of people who are currently spending more money than most small nations just to ensure that you never have to worry about voting again. Not because they're taking away the booths, but because they're making sure the outcome is decided long before we even wake up on election day. We're talking about a 100-year plan to remodel the American South into a place where representation is a luxury that only certain people can afford. And they're doing it while pretending to be a group of college kids who just really like free market memes. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is snoozing. We've had a long day, and we're going to ask you to make sure you're subscribed. We currently run this entire operation solo network free every single day because somebody actually has to yell at Katie and Steven a little bit Schmiller and keep them down on the rankings. Somebody has to keep Turning Point USA humble and accountable. And we are closing in on 100,000 subscribers. We're not slowing down. You can now find us wherever you get your podcasts, and consider every sub, every follow across social or wherever you listen, every save, share, comment, 6 words or more. We see it all. We read it all. And plus, I've been told it creates a barrier around you and Steven Little Bitch Miller, and it prevents your favorite local small business from becoming a Turning Point USA podcast studio. Okay.
I pray for them, even though they hate me.
Let's look at the math, because it's going in a very unsettling direction if you're a numbers person. So Turning Point USA loves to present itself as this grassroots youth organization. We have seen in the videos, there's not a lot of youth, not a lot of organization, and not really much movement either. It's an interesting branding choice, but grassroots usually implies that the money comes from, people instead of billionaires, instead of what the investigations revealed, which is that Turning Point USA raised $389 million between 2012 and mid-2023. That includes a previously overlooked $13.1 million gift from the Wayne Dudelson Foundation. The funding runs through dark money vehicles like the Bradley Impact Fund and Donors Trust. These are the places billionaires and their families go when they want to buy influence without their names showing up on a search engine. The New York Times literally credits Charlie Kirk with turning this into a well-funded media operation backed by conservative mega donors. In Arizona, they're currently under fire. A 2025 complaint alleged that Turning Point Action and Turning Point PAC failed to reveal donors who contributed more than the legal limits.
Count it all joy.
And they're basically running a private bank for anonymous billionaires who want to shape elections with zero accountability. And their primary threat machine, if you ever think they're just talking to students, you haven't seen what they did in Indiana. When Republican state senators dared to vote against a redistricting plan, Turning Point USA didn't send them a strongly worded letter. They targeted them. They ran a primary threat machine and wiped out the majority of those incumbents. This is a protection racket. They tell politicians, vote our way or we will end your career with our money. It's enforced compliance by a private organization run by Erika Kirk, mind you, Erika Kirk. And it's enforced compliance by a private organization that nobody voted for and nobody answers to. They've mastered the art of using primary threats to override the actual will of the constituents.
God, give me your strength. Use me. Use my life for your will.
And this is where the story takes a turn. Today's episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. I do everything from home. I research, I write, I edit, I record, I check the ceiling for Steven Miller, scurrying around. And at some point I realized the outfit I was doing all that in deserved to be better. Their jogger sets are made from the softest material I've ever seen. I put mine on every single day since it arrived. It makes me feel kind of put together enough that I don't feel like a person who gave up altogether, but it's also comfortable enough I never want to take it off. I wear it in the morning, I wear it for errands, filming, couch. It just works. And they also have clogs, and the clogs are real. They're cushioned, supportive, slip-on. I've worn them to the mailbox. I've worn them to take Willa potty town more times than I will ever admit publicly. And everything on CozyEarth.com comes with a 100-night trial and a 10-year warranty. So head over to CozyEarth.com and use my code Lauren, Loren, for 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, tell them you heard about it right here on LPTV. So everything I just told you was a setup for what happened on April 29th, 2026. So the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, struck down a Black majority district in Louisiana. They didn't just move some lines around. They altered the court's entire interpretation of the Voting Rights Act. Justice Kagan wrote that the decision will set back the foundation and the foundational right of racial equality in the electoral opportunity. Turning Point USA is actively demanding a 7-0 congressional map in Alabama. They're not just cheering this on. Think about that for a second. Alabama's Black population is over 26%. A 7-1 map means that over a quarter of the state's residents would have 0 congressional representation. 0. None. Turning Point USA is currently spearheading a coordinated national effort to strip Black voters of the representation it took them decades of blood and sweat to build. In 10 Southern legislatures, Republicans could gain more than 190 seats that are currently being held by Democrats, specifically Black representatives in majority minority districts. So this isn't even about party politics. This is about a $400 million machine systematically deleting the power of Black citizens. And you wonder why I don't like Erika Kirk. But maybe you think we're safe because we're not a politician in Alabama. Well, look at what happened to a suburban family in Prior Lake, Minnesota. A Turning Point USA reporter got shoved at a protest. Usually that's a local police matter. But when you have $389 million in direct access to power, the rules change. Within weeks, the FBI opened up an investigation. The Attorney General and the FBI director personally commented on it. They filed federal charges against a regular suburban family. Meanwhile, other protesters at the same event who used actual objects to attack the reporter, no charges. The family's attorney confirmed the parents lost their jobs and their daughter's career is in jeopardy. A private political org with an anonymous bunch of billionaire backers is now using the DOJ and the FBI as their personal HR department to target protesters they don't like. The scariest part is this isn't even the $389 million. It's the 100-year plan. The Turning Point Endowment held $64.3 million in 2024, up from just $7.2 million in 2020. They are hoarding cash for a century-long project to ensure that by the time that the next generation grows up, the very idea of one person, one vote is a thing of the past. They are run by a widow that nobody elected and a CEO who answers to nothing but a checkbook. They are erasing the representation across the South, and they are using federal agencies as a weapon, as a political tool for them, private citizens. They aren't just thinking about the next election. They're already on to the next century. So what's more alarming? The fact that 400 million can buy a private version of the FBI, or the fact that they've openly admitted that they're planning to do this for the next 100 years? You tell me. Because Erika Kirk is getting unmasked here. And Turning Point USA is threatening senators, and this youth club, we're calling BS. And I need you to help me get the word out on this one. I need you to share this video with a friend. I need you to amplify it. We gotta get people understanding the magnitude of the situation. She's not just a widow we need to be nice to. She is erasing the power of Black voters in our country. And we're not just gonna let that slide, okay? So we gotta rise up. We gotta protect people. And we got to protect what's right. And voting is so cool. We got to get excited about it. We got to treat it with the dignity it deserves. And we got to preserve this really incredible democratic process that we get to participate in. Turning Point USA, and I'm gonna go eat lunch at 7:44. Good night.